Hello everyone! Today I'm broadcasting from Tanzania, city which is called Arusha. And as many of you already know, it's the only one place in the world where they mine Tanzanites. It doesn't mean though that it's the only one type of the gemstone which is coming from this region. There are many others. I must say that it's a very beautiful place. Just let me show you. 1 second please. Ta-da! Now the focus is not on me, but you can enjoy the views. Tanzanite is unique as it's mined nowhere else in the world. As you can probably get from the name of the stone itself, I would say we can go on like that till the end of the video. And traditionally, before you start watching the video from the trip itself, I want to introduce you the stone. Tanzanites were found for the first time actually in the area which is right behind me. And there is a plateau which of course used to be a volcano. We owe lots of different beautiful stones around the world to volcanoes actually, as they often create the needed pressure and temperature to form a beautiful colorful stone. So the first Tanzanite is claimed to be mined in the 1966. As you can guess, the discoverer were familiar to Maasai people, which is not a big surprise as they inhabit this area. If you watch my previous videos, you might know already that Maasai are great warriors. And they just basically took all the best lands in Tanzania and Kenya under their control, without asking people politely. Even nowadays, the true Maasai still carry a weapon on him whenever he goes. So the story goes that Maasai warrior was herding his cows, which is also a typical thing to do for them, and found the beautiful stones just in the dust on the surface. Can you imagine that? The mother lode was that much close to the ground level. They said that the crystal was that big. And Maasai took the crystal to the laboratory. They were very surprised and firstly identified it as a sapphire. But still, they couldn't ignore the fact that something doesn't match the characteristic of a real sapphire, so they decided that it's probably just low-quality one. The whole process of investigating what type of this stone it is and how that shall be evaluated took around 5 years. It's not also a surprising thing to happen in the world of gemstones. Whenever the new gemstone comes to market, it might take a few years at least to identify its position on it. Nevertheless, what I find extremely surprising is that this stone, which is relatively new, is mentioned in horoscopes. And I have only one question: why? And yes, I mean that old Greek horoscope which we use when we say if you are born under Virgo or Libra, for example. And no, I'm not going to peel the theory how the ancient Greek could foresee the future. I'm going to claim that people who are using the modern stone in horoscopes are making it up. That's why whenever I get a question like, "Hello Constantine, I'm Gemini, what kind of gemstone would you recommend for me?" My answer is very simple: whatever you like, as there is no way to link modern gemstones to horoscope, which was created like thousands years ago. Please take my words right. One thing is to read about history of gemstones and learn how ancient nations treated them. For example, Chinese people, they have very long relationship with jade. Many other nations loved and used star sapphire, but it has nothing to do in common with horoscopes and recommendations, which stone suits to each zodiac sign. I totally get it through. Sometimes you want to beautify the gemstone with the mystery around it. When I'm in such a mood, I always go to my shaman, and he says like, "Son, listen to me. This gemstone will help your liver, and this gemstone will help you to earn more money." And I'm fine with that. And even if he's making it up, at least he's doing it in a logical and beautiful way. What doesn't agree with me is trusting in the article which was written by some random person in the magazine or Instagram post. I am especially against such recommendations when they're put in a negative way. For example, I have got many requests like the following: "Constantine, I do love a dark twilight spinel, and I don't like pink sapphires. However, my astrologist says that I must wear pink sapphires I must not wear dark spinel, so I will order pink sapphire. I don't support honestly that idea. I do believe that you shall choose whatever you like, so follow your heart. Anyway, the Tanzanite didn't come out on the market immediately the way it was. They also had to find the right way to heat it, and that is a method which requires attention and time. I will show you how Tanzanites look before heating. I assure you, you wouldn't want to wear a ring with unheated Tanzanites, because before this procedure they don't look quite attractive. So as soon as they figured out the way around the stone, local people, meaning Maasai, mostly started to steal Tanzanites from the fields in enormous amounts. The government tried hard to take the situation under control. They made several attempts with the army, with the police. I can imagine how did it look actually. For you to understand what do I mean, I'm quite a tall person. And Maasai are usually 1 head or 1.5 heads taller than me. For example, yesterday I went to the market for Maasai. I mean, they sell there everything what an average Maasai might need. And I felt like a midget. So Maasai are quite strong and tall guys. Bantu on the other hand, they're quite bodgy. So anyway, now imagine that kind of policeman from Bantu tribe who is coming up to a tribe of Maasai, let's say even 100 people, and tries to persuade them with a trembling voice not to steal the governmental Tanzanites, and Maasai pretending that they don't understand him. I assure you that they can do easily just continue putting the Tanzanite crystals into their colorful capes. That's how they sound usually. Just for you to understand, Maasai don't listen to anyone else beside their elders. They consider themselves to be the chosen ones, and therefore no matter who you are, if you're not a Maasai, you don't matter. I wouldn't say that they behave arrogantly, they just don't bore themselves with anything what is not related to their tribes. So these attempts from the government took some more years again. Because even if you send someone with the guns, for example, Maasai always carry at least 2 types of weapons on them. They're skillful warriors who are being trained to fight since very early childhood, and there are lots and lots of them. So the only one solution left was to build a thick wall around mining fields, so all that plateau where the Tanzanites are mined was surrounded by actual wall. Let's have a look at that wall. Of course it's not all of that. I just made a short video to share with you. There are gates, and I couldn't make a video of them because it's strictly forbidden. There are armed people who are guarding those gates. Any coming in or out, I check thoroughly with modern scanning techniques as well. And seam on your cloth. Because Tanzanites are little stones which might cost a lot. So basically nothing stopped you from hiding them in your sleeve, pockets or even underwear. The locals say that if someone is under suspicion, they might check even not just a cloth but all of his body holes as well. The locals say that if someone is under suspicion, they might check even not just a cloth but all of his body holes as well. And this solution helped. Of course, government earns a lot of Tanzanites. Unfortunately, personally I believe that most of the revenue goes into the pocket of officials and their families. So at some point it worked and the stone stopped leaking away, and the profits from Tanzanite mining are huge. However, I have a feeling that most of those money are going to the pockets of officials and their families, not to the government or to the people of the country. So, about Tanzanite itself. It is insanely beautiful stone. I'm going to show you a few of the best examples which I have worked with. Sometimes it's difficult to tell the difference between that expensive royal blue sapphire and a good quality Tanzanite. Sometimes I would say the intensity of the color, the brightness of it, the glimmer it gives, are even more fascinating than in the case of sapphires. Here you can see the royal blue sapphire. And here you can see Tanzanite. With the naked eye, you can't see any difference at all. However, the price will be several times higher. For example, here you can see the top quality Tanzanite, which is usually marked like AAA. And the cost of it is approximately 750–800 per carat. So 20 carats this of a Tanzanite, absolutely stunning in color and perfect and everything, will be around $16,000. And similar quality and size of the sapphire will be starting from $100,000. And the color will be still very similar, maybe even the same. So I would say that if you like blue color and you want to save money, it's better to have a Tanzanite rather than buying an expensive sapphire of the same color. Another interesting feature of a Tanzanite is that initially they have different hues when you're looking at it from different angles. Sometimes it can be dark blue, sometimes it can be light blue, a transparent or brownish or even purple. However, as soon as you hit a stone, and Tanzanite always are heated, the color becomes even. Of course you can buy unheated Tanzanite and enjoy the play of colors, but most of the time unheated Tanzanite will be too dark. So that's just the rule, and you know why if you watched my previous video. You have to melt all the tiny inclusions to get the brilliant bright blue. But anyway, due to the initial polychromism of the stone, even after heating you may see the variations in color. Sometimes they're more going into blue hues, sometimes they're a little bit purplish. Another thing which is important to know is that it's impossible to buy a bright blue but small one Tanzanite. A Tanzanite, the same as the tourmalines and many other stones, loses the intensity and vividness of the color when decreased in size. So if it's smaller than 5 or 6 carats, there are almost no chances to get the deep, bright purplish blue color which you saw before on the video. That's how it looks. On the other hand, if the stone is too big like 700–800 carats, the color is too dense as well. So they don't look very much prettier because they're too dark. So the perfect color will be within the range between 6 carats and 100 carats. Stay with us to learn what happened next.